Hello, I'm Erin J. Doyle. Welcome to my channel. You might be able to hear people outside. It's a really hot day and I don't want to shut the windows, but I can hear people. I'm assuming I'm hearing the park, but it sounds like people running around and cheering and stuff. Don't know if you'll be able to pick that up. I know in previous videos I've been like, oh my god, the helicopters, so much traffic, rah! And hardly ever actually showed up in the videos, but anyway, if you can hear it, it's, you know, young people enjoying the sunny day, so, you know, that's fine. It's not like people get into drunken fights outside my house, which is what we used to have. So that's a distracting noise, but it's not a bad noise, so we're just gonna say it's fine. Anyway, so I do not have a plan for this video. I have so little of a plan. I actually was getting ready to just go, nah, I'm not even gonna bother, because I just didn't really have anything to say. And then I remembered that I'm now posting videos fortnightly instead of weekly, which means that missing a video is missing a lot of time. But also, upcoming in my diary, I'm not sure when I'll get a chance to film the next video. So today's the 13th of May, and between then and the 5th of June, I have, in the next couple of days, weeks I should say, today's my work from home day. I had to go into the office anyway to clear up some things because there were too many confusing emails. So I'm now behind on the stuff that I was meant to do today because I was trying to clarify that. Tomorrow I have like a get together socially thing which I could skip and try and do some catch up on. The following day I have a potluck. There has been discussion about doing some practicing for an upcoming presentation at that potluck. I don't know what I'm going to bring to the potluck because there are currently cyber attacks going on for the supermarkets and they are empty, and I can't rely on being able to just pop into the supermarket and grab something. So it's kind of like, what do I have in the cupboard that I can make into food to share? I have not planned ahead for this. Oh dear. I also have a 2-hour meeting the following day. I have to get in some paperwork to the New Zealand government over this weekend. It doesn't have to be done this weekend, but like, I should have done it months ago. It really needs to be done. Then, the following week, I have a conference in London. Obviously this is multiple days, there's travel down there, sorting out accommodation, all of that hoopla. So, even though the conference isn't a full week, that's going to take up most of that week, at least in like my mental space. So yeah, there's probably not going to be any filming or writing during that time. That's followed by a long weekend. Maybe we'll get some filming, writing, personal stuff done in that time, who knows. Then after that we have a seminar and a bake sale. Those are fine, like no mental load required for that. Then I have a field trip down to a river where I'm going to be doing some sampling, so I can have a look around and figure out what's there, where exactly I'm going to put things, because you can kind of drop a pin on a map and go, oh yeah, here, but like then you get there and you realise that there's no safe access point to the water or something like that, so I have to go and physically look at the river. The very next day I have the deadline for handing in the paperwork for my 9-month review for my PhD. The following day I have another field trip to another river. And then I have meetings 2 days after that. Then I have, the very next day after that, I have a full day of training on how to use a fancy type of microscope that I'm excited to learn how to use. I have 1 day and then I have of nothing, and then I have my 9-month review itself. So there's the paperwork for it and then there's the review. For this review I have to have a presentation ready, which I have to have somehow made in amongst all of those other things and practiced and, you know, be ready for. So I have to present what I'm going to do for my PhD, what progress I've made, what the impacts are going to be, like the plan, why it's a good idea, basically. And I'm going to be presenting this to the people who will eventually decide if I get to have the PhD, or if in 4 years they're just going to be like, oh, you mucked around and wasted a lot of time, no doctorate for you. Like, that's them that get this presentation, and they are going to basically tell me everything about it that's wrong and that I have to fix so that I can improve. But I do assume that this is going to be very stressful and my self-esteem may take a knock. So yeah, that's where we're at. And in amongst all of this, because I've known this was coming, I was thinking, okay, it's the height of summer, it's going to be really hot in the lab. In a gap between all of this chaos and when I have to go do fieldwork and actually collect samples and start processing them in the laboratory, I'm going to go on a holiday. And I was thinking either I could walk, say, Hadrian's Wall, or go up to Edinburgh and do, like, there's lots of little day tours and stuff you can do around there, and I thought this could be like a very restful, low technology, just relax, see some of the country kind of time. And I had put some money aside for this. Unfortunately, all of that money is gone now because on Easter weekend, you know, when there's public holidays and nothing is open, one of my 30-year-old silver fillings fell out. So I had to make an emergency dentist appointment and went and saw them, and there goes all my money. Now, this was actually before my last video, and now I can't remember if I talked about it. I don't think I did, or actually I know that I did, but I think I edited it out. So I have been to the dentist 5 times since Easter weekend because of one filling. It wasn't bad, it didn't cause me pain, the tooth isn't cracked, but I had to go in for an initial consultation, then I had to go in to get it actually done, because apparently those two things can't be done at the same time, even though you book an emergency appointment, which you would think would mean I need work immediately, not, yeah, I'm okay to come back in a few days. And then I was in intense pain. And I had to go back, and the dentist was basically, oh yeah, the filling is too high, we'll need to like polish it down a little bit. And I was like, this has literally never happened to me before, but okay. I had to go back and get it done a second time a week later because they still hadn't taken enough off. And then I was in so much pain, like I couldn't eat anything hot. Even if I only chewed on this side of my mouth, just having that little bit of a temperature increase felt like heat was getting like conducted down into my jawbone. So multiple visits, we're up to 5. She now says it's fine. Don't know that I believe her. So yeah, that's taken up a whole bunch of mental space and all of my adventure money. So I'm not quite sure when in the next couple of weeks I'm going to get time to like do anything for me, which also includes this channel and writing my book. And I don't know what I'm going to do for the, I think at this point, essential recovery time after that review meeting. But yeah, got no money now, so I'm like, oh. And I have, yeah, so many things coming up, but a lot of it's like good learning opportunities and things. So it's all positive, but also all chaotic. So, perhaps it'll surprise you to learn that my book is now about 10,500 words. Shush. So it is happening. I feel that now that I've got some ideas on paper, I need to have a little bit more of a think about what time periods I want to cover, because I feel like I have, like I've talked before about how there's going to be an event and then the story is like the aftermath of the event. I feel like most of what I've written, certainly not all, but most, is still in the immediate response to the event phase, and it's not like the longer term stuff, which I do also want to cover. So I think that's the next thing I need to think about is, okay, there has been an event, it affected your life in this way immediately, what happens next, kind of stuff. And I need to decide, like, what period of time am I going to cover? I think it makes sense to have at least a year, because then I can have like a Memorial Day kind of thing where you know, perhaps a monument is put up for all the people that have died. Yeah, like I've got vague ideas, but I haven't really written that section. I think I've been a little bit too heavy on initial response, so I have to work on that next. And I have to really make a decision about how everyone dies, which is what I was talking about in my last video. And I know that I talked about it as being the bad option because it makes no sense, but I'm really leaning towards just poof, everyone's gone, no dead bodies, no explanation. And I know that it's a bad idea in terms of justification, but I'm just kind of like, I don't want to deal with dead bodies. It's just not the vibe of the story, you know. And I think whilst it's hard to justify in the world building, it is also possible within the world building. Like, you know, magic. I don't have to have it have been like a disease or anything. And because it is in fact a magical reason for everyone to be gone, well, the select people to be gone. What was I saying? Oh no! It ran out of my head! Yes, it's a magical reason. So I can just go, okay, extra magical. Like, that's fine. I can in fact just go, yeah, a wizard did it and it's fine. So, having made that decision, I can at least continue forward, not having to think about how am I going to deal with all the dead bodies, because there won't be any. And I just have to basically write one scene where the fact that there are no dead bodies is explained. And it's going to be a yeah magic explanation, and it's fine. So hopefully that fixes it in terms of my vibes and what I want for the story, even though it's not really logical and that annoys me greatly. But we're just going to embrace it because it's a fantasy story. It doesn't have to be scientifically accurate. And I feel like there was something else. I do feel like the general progress that I've made on the story has slowed down in the last couple of weeks, but I'm fairly certain that this is just because of all the PhD chaos that has suddenly happened, not because like story enthusiasm or ideas have slowed down. It's just been a life balance thing. So I do have this like, oh no, it stopped kind of feeling, but I think that's just the circumstances. I think the story is still alive, it's still okay. We aren't going to have another one just be like suddenly shelved. We're going to continue, it'll be fine. So that's our update. I'm not 100% sure that the next video will be out in 2 weeks as scheduled. It might end up having to be delayed just because of how much stuff I've got in the next 2 weeks, but maybe I'll manage to squeeze it in at some point, maybe. And if not, I will trust that you understand that I'm a very busy person and I have PhD stuff that takes priority, and I will be back in June after all of this is behind me. And yeah, if you don't get an update between now and then, I'll let you know how the review goes and that kind of stuff then. Hopefully it's fine. Hopefully self-esteem's still intact. So, yeah, that's it. I have to now go and complete doing a tutorial on how to do GIS stuff. It is kicking my ass. Partly because the instructions are slightly out of date and I keep having to try and figure out what button to push now in the new up-to-date version. But anyway, I'm gonna go do that. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time, whenever that happens to be. Bye.